And what we share with you today is going to multiply the success of your business quicker than you could have ever imagined. Yes? You can cheer. And it's the easiest thing to do in your business.
And the most fun.
That's right. Joan, share your story.
Yeah. 5.5 years ago, I was at my very first summit. It was in Vegas. I had been a coach for 5 months, and I had 3 coaches with me. 2 of them up on that screen, one of them sitting in this room right now, the other one's still on my team. And we were at a bar, tequila, and we looked across the room and we saw this sea of red, and we just saw how much fun they were having. And they just seemed like they were such a tight-knit group, like best friends. And we were like, we want that. We didn't know who Kristina was or who Diesel Nation was. We were just like, we want in. Whatever they're doing, I want to create. And so it's crazy for me, full circle moment, to be speaking about that very thing on this stage with this lady right here.
Isn't that amazing? And I'll be honest with you, as surreal as it is for me to hear that from you, who I respect so much in this business, all of what we were doing that night at the club in Las Vegas, the things we can talk about on stage, we were doing unintentionally. There wasn't anything intentional about what we were doing, but what we know now, looking back, is that we were building our team's culture. And so today, we're going to talk about how you can not only create a vision for your team, but create a culture that's going to make your team and your leaders rock solid. Are you ready? All right. So this presentation is broken up into 2 parts. So if you're taking notes, first top of your page, you're going to say create a winning team. Bottom half of that page, you're going to say create winning leaders. Okay? And we're going to talk about how you do team culture and vision, both on an organizational level and then on an individual level, because both are important. Now, when we talk about creating a winning team, I want you to envision this tree. And you can take a picture of this, it's important. And we took this from a personal development event that I went to called Entre Leadership. And, yeah, Dave Ramsey, who's a fan. And it tied so perfectly with what we wanted to share with you guys, so we just used it and changed it for Team Beachbody. Your business has 4 parts to it. And as Diamond and Star Diamond coaches, many times, and I know because I've been there, and I've mentored Diamonds and Star Diamonds, you get very laser focused on the trunk of your organization. The tree, right? We're talking about a tree. So you get laser focused on the trunk, which is the 4 vital behaviors. How can we get our coaches to work, right? Isn't that the $1 million question that everybody has? Yes? Okay, what we're here to tell you is that if you focus on creating a solid foundation, which is the roots, which encompass the vision you have for your team and your core values, and the branches, which is team culture, not only do the 4 vital behaviors become funner and more fulfilling and easier, but the fruits of your labor are going to come faster and better. Make sense? Okay.
So let's talk about vision for a second, because team culture and vision work hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And I know for me, when I was first starting out in this, I actually said I would never coach, but I just needed something to make me feel better. So I started working out. And then as I started to see results, I started to see the vision of where I could go with my health and fitness. And then I decided, okay, I want to help other people. So I started talking about that and putting my vision out there, and I found other people who needed help physically. And after that first month of coaching, when I had started making an income, that's when all of a sudden I was like, oh, I see where this could bring me financially and what I could do with this business. And I remembered that when I was younger, I used to say, I don't want to work for anybody else. I don't like 9 to 5. I used to complain about school every week and think, oh my God, I'm going to graduate and then I have to get a job and do the same thing. But I just never knew, of an invention or business that I could create that would get me out of that. So when I started seeing these wins, I started seeing how this business could get me where I wanted to go, which was freedom, financially and time-wise. So I started telling that. I started telling my story, and I started painting that vision of where I wanted to go on a daily basis, and then found other people who had that same vision for themselves. And because I painted it and talked about it every single day, they knew where I was going, and they wanted on my train.
Absolutely. I want you to guys repeat this with me. Vision is about one day. Culture is about every day. Say it. Vision is about one day. Culture is about every day. That's an important distinction that you need to know. Culture and vision are two different things. Joan just painted a picture of what she wanted her life to look like, and when she started doing that, she started attracting the right people to her team that wanted that for themselves as well. Now, you want vision and culture because a strong team has both, right? But let me ask you a question, because I know this happened to me in my business. Who here has huge goals that they want to accomplish with Team Beachbody? Raise your hand. I know you do. You guys are Diamond Star Diamonds. You're here for a reason. Celebrate that. And I know you don't want to stay where you are. And one day, I felt like just like you, but I felt selfish about my goals. Who feels that way? That it's hard to talk about where you want to go with your team. Do you feel that way? Right? I want to be an elite coach, but if I tell my team that, I don't know how they're going to react to that because that kind of sounds selfish. Do you feel that? All right, you have to get over it. I'll never forget sitting in that same Vegas that Joan saw us across the bar, sitting with a coach on our team, and he goes, "What's up with that 15-star thing?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, it's the highest rank in the company. It's super hard, but I'm good. I'm 10-star, and that's great. That's not in the cards for our team." And he goes, "Well, that's a problem because what you're saying to your team is that they can't ever achieve that." And I said, "Whoa." And he said, "Share your vision with your team." I went back, we did that. 7 months later, we were a superstar diamond team. Don't be afraid to share your goals. Share them because it's going to inspire people, and that vision is going to take them along with you. Let's talk about core values and beliefs, because this is important, right? This is what gives you purpose. Now, your core values are inside of you. They're intrinsic. They're what makes you, that they direct your actions, right? When you have a tough decision to make, doing the right thing is based on your core values, right? So when Joan told her story at the beginning and seeing us in Vegas, what are some of the things that jumped out at you? Anyone? Raise your hand. Fun? Anybody? What else? Family, right? Tequila. No, I'm just kidding. Well, it kind of is a core value.
Most times we say tequila.
I know. It's kind of a core value. I joke. But establishing your core values is important because whenever a coach on your team or you have to make a decision on anything, if you are acting in line with your core values, then you're always going to do the right thing. You're always going to make the right decision. And if your team members share those core values with you, imagine how far you can go. Do you feel this? Yeah? Okay.
So what we do, we're not going to focus a lot right here. The reason that we put you here is because this is why you guys are all here, right? You all showed up and you're like, we want you to tell us exactly what to do to get to the success level that you're at. Like, give us your secrets, tell us all of your thing. And this is the secret.
It is.
It's the secret. You do that stuff. You do that tracker every single day. That's the trunk. But when you do it together as a team with those core values in line and you're having fun, that's a magnet, you guys. It's going to go a lot faster for you and you're going to have more fun doing it.
How many of you feel that this business is sort of like Groundhog Day, right? You wake up. I know, it is, right? You wake up, you have your power hour, you got to do your workout, you got to drink your shake, and then you wake up again, you got to do it all over again, you got to build another challenge group, you got to recruit some coaches. It can be a little bit repetitive, right? So you have to find the joy in that repetition in order to grow your team and to grow your income. So when you do the 4 vital behaviors, which is absolutely critical, and every coach in here, as well as on your team, should be doing them, when there's a purpose behind them. tied to a vision and tied to an amazing team culture, everyone is going to be fulfilled in doing those Groundhog Day activities, right? All right, let's build our community.
This is the fun stuff, you guys. So these are the things that we do to build that culture and to build that community. When we have super weekends, we never just go to the event and show up and sit there and take notes and leave. Our team gets together afterwards. We go have lunches together. We invite everybody to come with us. And getting them to the event in the first place is like, you guys are in an event right now, so I'm preaching to the choir, but these events change you. I remember our very first super weekend we went to, I had no idea what it was. I just knew that my coach told me to get there, and I had said, I'll do whatever you tell me to be successful. So I went. And I brought a couple people with me. It was an ice storm in Maine that day, and we were driving down to Boston.
I don't know about ice storms in Miami.
You're in Miami. And one of my coaches that was coming to meet me actually drove off the road, but because she was so committed to doing this with us and she didn't want to miss out, she got back in her car after being pulled out, drove to me, and then we drove down. And at that event, we just felt that energy, and we created an experience, you guys. We're never going to forget that moment. And when you create experiences like that, that is what builds those ties.
So I'm going to be honest. I believe in transparency in the business, because if I say everything's easy, that's not going to serve you. Can I get an amen on that, right? So there's certain things that I'm still working on in the business. I don't know all the answers, but I do like to observe what other teams are doing. One of those things are these Zoom workouts. Who has started doing this with their coaches? Okay, so I haven't. And I know that that's an issue. It's an issue that I'm going to address as soon as we start Morning Meltdown 100. We're going to start doing those Zoom workouts because guess what? That is a free and simple way to keep your coaches engaged and build a strong team culture. So if you're doing it, keep doing it. And if you're not, join me and let's start doing it with Morning Meltdown 100, because all those touch points, and I think that's the point we're trying to make with this. Yeah. Every time you can have an interaction with your team is critical. Whenever I have in-person meetings, meetups, coffee, let's just meet at Starbucks or at an event, it matters. It absolutely matters. So get used to getting out of your house, taking 10 minutes, meeting someone for coffee, because all those interactions is what build those ties to your team, and it'll help empower and inspire your coaches to do things. Now, let's talk about retreats a second.
Yeah. Retreats don't have to be something crazy and expensive, you guys. You could have somebody drive up for the weekend or come to your house one day. It could be a one-day thing. For us, we had a recent retreat where we had all of our coaches show up in animal onesies, and we had like a bonfire out by the lake. And it was cheap and just fun, and we got to sit and chat. But creating those moments, again, those experiences where you can get to know each other and get those tight bonds is what's going to make your team feel like a family. And it's going to keep them around.
Absolutely. I remember way back in the business, I would see these organizations this is when I was like in your shoes, right? Diamond, Star Diamond, and I would see, people like Mindy Wender hosting these crazy retreats, and I was saying, I can't afford that, right? I can't do that. Yeah. It's cool that she can, but I can't. What I realized, because when we did start hosting retreats, the ones that are potlucks, the ones where it's casual and not stuffy and informal and everybody is there and comes as they are and just has fun, those are the most important and the ones that make the deepest impact. So have your coaches come over, have a slumber party, do whatever it is that you can do to have that community. Ask a coach to come in on Zoom to do a training, and that's all you have to do. That's what a retreat really is.
And I'll also just mention too, with every event that we do as a team, we always invite spouses or significant others. How many of you in here maybe have a spouse or significant other that isn't totally on board with this? That's a lot of you. So what we've done as a team is we've always, always included them in our Christmas parties, at our team brunches, at things like that. Get them to Super Saturdays. Because then what happens is this crazy thing happens where all the spouses get together and they start talking about you and how you annoy them. But then eventually they become friends. And now the guys on our team, actually, they go golfing together, they have wing nights, they do all these things together that has nothing to do with us. And they have a support system within each other about what we're doing in the business, and they've just become, a whole big group of friends.
Yeah, we have the same story. I'm not going to add too much there, but it's a beautiful thing when you can include your spouse. I mean, our guys are sitting right in the front, right here on the floor, and to see them create relationships with the other spouses has really, really tightened the bond, even between the ladies on the team, and it's really, really awesome. So we highly suggest that. Now, let's get it straight. We don't want you just to have fun in the business. You also need to be productive. So you, as the leader of your team, need to make sure that you're creating an environment for your team to grow, to do the vital behaviors, to have fun while doing it, and create results in terms of income growth, volume growth, rank advancement growth, and all that good stuff. So Joan is really good at recognizing her team.
Yeah, there was a moment there in my business where I was like, why is this not quite so fun? Like, I've created all of these friendships with people. Like, I've got the best friends that I've ever had in my life, and that's super fulfilling. So I have this amazing community around me, and I have this amazing business, but now I kind of feel stagnant, and I kind of feel like this is like, what am I doing? And the difference was this, and I talked to Julie Voris about this, and she said, forward momentum creates joy. And so as a team, you guys are accountable to each other to show up for your business and to do what you said you wanted to do, because it helps the entire team move forward. And when you do, you're going to be more successful. One of the ways that we do that is we recognize the action people are taking, not just the results. So if somebody was the biggest cheerleader in the page that day, they get recognized. If somebody put up their first post, they get recognized. If somebody sold one challenge pack, they get recognized. Because we want to recognize the actions, because what you recognize, you create more of. And so we put a board up every week about that.
Yeah, and you can see that right there. And do you put it up as the cover photo of your team page?
We just put it up in the page.
You put it up.
But I know a lot of people do that.
I know some people do that, and that creates like, I want to get there, FOMO when it comes to getting up on that recognition board.
Right.
So our team did something really cool last year that I just want to talk about. And you don't have to replicate this, but I wanted to jog your ideas and your creativity to see how you can do this. I'm really big on inclusive trainings. There's always a time and a place for like a diamond push, right? Who got to diamond by participating in a diamond push? Raise your hand. Okay, see, they work. But while those are great, it's always good to include everyone, regardless of their goals, because guess what? Everybody matters, right? And you belong here.
Yeah.
So what we did is I brainstormed, and we created this competition called the Diesel Nation Olympics. We had all of our team. Yeah, who's on it? My girls right here. We had our team all sign up, and then we split the team into 5 different teams. Now, what was really cool is that we had coaches from California on the same team as a coach from the UK, or a coach from Washington State with a coach from Florida, and our team created these amazing connections. And we separated also with the teams within ranks, right? So we had coach level all the way to Star Diamond, so that they can mentor the new coaches in the Emeralds. And during the 6-week competition, we saw amazing things happen that boosted not only our numbers, recruiting was up, Success Club numbers were up, but bonds were created. And that's always the key when you host these inclusive trainings. Now, I know I need to get to this, so we're going to stop right here for a second, because this is important. You guys are Diamonds and Star Diamond coaches. Who here has hosted their own sneak peek? Awesome.
Ooh, I love that.
Those of you that didn't raise your hand, that's your call to action. That's what we're going to make you do. As a leader, which is what you are, you need to be perceived as a leader. If you are constantly relying on your Star Diamond upline or your upline to do everything for you, guess who's being perceived as the leader? Your Star Diamond upline. So if you want to grow from where you are now to 5-star, 10-star, or 15-star, you need to start hosting things like coach sneak peeks and team calls for your team.
Okay, so when you do all of those things, you get the things, right? So by showing up, by being part of your team, by making it fun, not just fun stuff, but making the productive stuff fun as well, so people are showing up, this is what happens. Your volume grows. Your team starts growing. Your team starts growing, and they stick around. That's a big part of it, you guys. Volume is what creates income in our business. But if you're just selling challenge packs and then they're gone the next month, that volume doesn't repeat itself. So this culture thing that we're talking about, providing that vision and then providing the opportunities to grow as a team together in a productive manner, that's what's going to help somebody stick around. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I've got coaches in this room that were here with me at my very first summit. That's what creates team volume, and that's what helps you earn more income.
So remember, we're recapping. Right at the bottom, the foundation, the roots are what? Shout it out. Vision, core values. Then you move up to the trunk. What's the trunk? The 4 vital behaviors. And then you get to the branches, which is vision is about one day. Culture is about. You better remember that. I'm going to quiz you later. All right, let's get deep, Joan.
Oh, this is, we just gave you all that fluffy stuff, and then we're like, guys, will you just say the quote that you said the other day?
So it takes 20 years to build your reputation, but it could take 5 minutes to destroy it. The same can be true about your culture.
Yeah, you guys, these things will kill your business. Gossip, negativity, lack of communication, lack of transparency. You have to think back to the core values that we said in the very beginning, right? So if somebody has all of these fears happening, or somebody is worried that they're walking into a room and they're being talked about by somebody else, does that feel like family? Does that feel like they're loved and appreciated and that they want to stick around and be part of this team? Not so much. And I'll give you an example. I have heard some rumblings at times in my business, and it happens all the time, you guys, with all teams, right? This person thinks that you're mean, or this person thinks this. And then all of a sudden, it can become a cancer if you do not stop it. If you don't stop it in its tracks, which is hard to do, you have to have that gumption to stand up and say something and protect your culture and protect your team, then it can seep into your everyday thoughts. It can seep into everybody else's thoughts. And then your production goes away because you're too busy thinking about all this crud that's happening in your business instead of focusing where you should. So you want to make sure that if any one of these things you witness happen, you immediately address it because you need to protect your team.
Absolutely. All right, take a snapshot of this. This is your team culture reality check. So these are the questions that when you go home, we want you to ask yourself. So how do you want your team to feel? What are those core values that you want day in and day out to lead your team's thoughts, actions, behaviors? But how do they really feel right now? I want you to ask, how do you want your team to act, right? On a day-to-day basis, a year from now, 5 years from now, how do they really act? And be honest. Are they actually working the business or are they not? And how can you change that by addressing the team culture issue? If your okay, this is the gut check. This is the one that gets you. If your coaches were to leave the business for whatever reason, would they come back? And I'm not saying come back to some other team. Would they come back to your team? And what would they say about your team? Think about that. Yeesh. That should make you think, right? All right, we're switching gears. Create winning leaders.
If a coach knows you have their back, they will move faster and farther. I love this quote. You guys, there's been studies that have been done about this. Not just with human beings, with even dogs. How many of you love dogs? I'm obsessed, so that's what I talk about all the time. Okay. They did a study of puppies with their owners, and they were testing them in a room to see what they would play with, if they would jump off things, if they would try to run out the door, all of these different things. And when their owner was in the room, they tried to do more things. And here's the reason why. They felt safe. They felt safe. I've had a professor before who he just filled my soul, he filled my cup, and I never, ever, ever wanted to let him down, right? So I would show up. That's what this means. When you have your coach's back, they know it. And therefore, they're going to take more risks. They're going to try new things. They're going to push harder in their business, and they're going to try to emulate everything that you've done to be successful.
Let's break this down. So what you want to do is Miranda in the room? Is she here? Oh, she's not here right now. Well, that's one of my Star Diamond coaches, Miranda, and I want you to understand that in order to build strong leaders, you need to be one yourself. And that's what I want you to take away from this slide. You cannot ask your coaches to hit Success Club if you're not hitting Success Club. You cannot ask your coaches to recruit coaches if you're not recruiting coaches. You can't ask anything of your coaches if you're not modeling the behaviors of success. Now, you don't have to hit SC 500 or anything like that. That's not the point. But if you want your coaches to take a step, you need to be 2 steps ahead of them, showing them the way. Does that make sense? That's what creates strong leadership, which in turn creates strong leaders on your team.
Yeah. Knowing your coach's why and motivations. You guys, we're told at the very beginning of our business, like, what's your why? And then figure out your coach's why. And we ask them in the beginning, right? And we get that answer that's like, oh, I just want to make $500. Or, oh, I just wanted a discount. And then a lot of the times we end there. But what we want to be doing is we want to be spending time with our coaches to create that tight-knit relationship so that we can keep asking that question over and over and over and over again so that we actually get a better answer and we can help them achieve that. I'm going to give you an example of my coach, Katie. Katie, you're in here? I hope you're in here. I heard it. Katie went to New Leaders Conference, and afterwards, I took some of my leaders down to my grandparents' house in the desert. And we went to this amazing pool with this amazing view, and she was sitting on a floating flamingo, you guys. And, up until this point in her business, I was like, why aren't you this rank? Why aren't you pushing harder? I see so much potential in you. And, she was sitting on her floating flamingo, and she decided to FaceTime her niece. And when she did, she had the camera facing out this way so she could see where she was. And when she flipped the camera, her niece's face was like this. And up until this point, Katie believed, she had a self-limiting belief, that she shouldn't want more because everybody around her already had less than what she currently had.
Ooh.
And I said, do you want that for your niece? Or do you want to show her she can have whatever she wants? And that's when Katie blew up and went 5-star elite. She's 5-star elite this year, you guys. Because she figured out what her why was. And so you want to have that tight of an individual relationship with your coaches that you can do that.
Because if you know their why, you can remind them of it, and that's so important. Another thing is creating a separate space for your PS coaches and your coaches that are working the business in your downline. My business changed drastically about 3 years ago when instead of having just pouring everyone into one team page, I realized I needed a separate space for my personal downline, my personally sponsored coaches as well as their coaches so that I can be engaged with them, and that changed the game. Another thing that we started doing, which is no secret, I think a lot of people are doing it, are these pods. So I have coaches and I pod them in terms of their goals. I do every month I create a new Success Club pod for my team, and on the 5th of the month, if you have points on the board, you go into the pod. And what I've realized has happened is as people are hitting and getting in, and I'm saying, okay, so-and-so's getting in, so-and-so's getting in, that's contagious and people want in. And this year, our team is already an elite team for 2020 because hitting Success Club, just like some people have said over the course of the weekend, Diamond is contagious, so is Success Club. So create these environments for your coaches to thrive. This is one where oh wait, did we miss a slide?
I think so. I think we have one more.
Okay,
so develop individual productivity expectations. It's also a lot easier, you guys, when you have a tight relationship with somebody to look at them and be like, you told me you wanted this and you need to do this to get there. And to have that integrity to say that to them and to know that, like, give them that accountability of, like, here's what you said you wanted, here's what you mean to the team for doing that, and then help them set those expectations for themselves. And you can go through and you can do one-on-one calls with them, strategize about their goals, and then
and personally recognize them, which is such a key thing, right? Your personally sponsored coaches want you to know that you're in this with them and that when they succeed, you're going to recognize them. There it is. That's the one I wanted to talk about. So delegate leadership activities. And here's another truth moment for me. I suck at this. Like completely, utterly suck at this. Why? Because I feel like I don't want to bother people, so I just do it all myself. I'll do the team call, do the sneak peek, do the this, do the that, do the everything. Am I right, ladies down here in my team? Yes. But when I give opportunities to people to host team calls, to host our coaching sneak peeks, to have speaking opportunities, to go live in our team page, to do all these things, they usually blow me away and do it 10 times better than I could have ever dreamed of doing. So give your coaches emeralds, coach level coaches. If a coach came onto your team and hit Success Club in their first month, why not ask them to go live in the team page to share how they did it? Hey, just 5 minutes. Just say, what did you do? I created whatever it is they did. Could you imagine how empowering that is for a diamond or star diamond that you are to tell someone that just signed up to go live and train people? Amazing. They're going to be like, I want to do that again. It's like a drug, right?
Yeah, you're grooming them.
Yeah, you're priming them for this. Yeah. So give your coaches the opportunity to speak up, and to participate in leading the team, and then evaluate and provide feedback. So take a picture. This is an individual culture reality check. And really, Joan, this is about human interaction.
It's about, do you care about me? You know, and if you were to show up in your team and maybe you don't have an upline or, you know, whatever, ask yourself what makes you feel good. Like, what do you want to be part of? How do you want your coach to treat you? And turn around and do that for your team.
Yeah, this is all about, you know, the golden rule, I guess. And when you do good, people will do good for you, and together you'll do great things. You know, in this business, it's easy to push for goals and sacrifice some of the things in order to get that goal accomplished that might not make you feel that good. So use these questions to gut check yourself. You know, do I care about you?
Yeah.
As I'm pushing you to, you know, my girls just hit 4-star in one of my business centers, and I had to constantly gut check myself. Just, you know, I've been in the business for a long time, and I'm like, this is a group effort. This is a group effort, and am I doing it the right way? Because there is a right way, and there's a wrong way to do it.
Yeah. Because you become so laser focused sometimes too. Make sure that, like, because I'm guilty of it, like the check-in when you haven't heard from somebody in a while, like, hey, how's your business going? Or, hey, did you reach Success Club yet? Instead of, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah.
The simple question of how are you can change your business if you say it to the right person at the right time. Never forget that. We are so over time.
We are, but in wrap up, you know, it's crazy to me that I looked across the room and I saw you there and I was like, I want this, you know? And I was basically like, you know, that's what you want to create. You want to create a team that somebody can see you on the internet and they have no idea what you're doing, but they're like, I want that. Or across the room, or whatever it may be. And because I saw that, and because I wanted that, I had nobody around me, you guys. I literally was just Joan in Maine by myself. And now we have the biggest team in Maine. I have, you know, premier coaches and elite coaches on my team, star diamonds, and it just keeps growing and growing, and we've got like this big family now because we saw that.
Amazing. I'll just leave you with this. You see us in these dresses, red, white, and it's not really about the color. It's what the color represents. So what I want you to do is to go home and figure out what is it that you want for your team to look like. And next year, come back with a team that represents that culture to the core. Are you guys excited about that?